Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and we have some breaking news that should be breaking across all the mainstream media, legacy media, social media, and going viral across all the major platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. As we have talked about before, Biden, during a press conference, mentioned that he didn't say he was considering it or he was going to implement it. He just said that businesses with over 100 employees would have to implement the vaccine mandate or face fines. And so there wasn't any legal precedent behind it, which is what I found very irritating because businesses went into motion. Now, people are making the argument that this was just a maneuver by Biden to allow businesses to say that they were going to be in trouble or face fines if they didn't implement this vaccine mandate. So they wanted to start now, even though they knew it didn't have any legal precedent. So it gave businesses a way out, and it gave Joe Biden a way to dance around the Constitution. But it's coming to a head. I'm glad it's coming to a head now. It should have been addressed immediately and explained immediately. So on Thursday, November the 4th, 2021, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, published an Emergency Temporary Standard, ETS, that establishes minimum COVID-19 vaccination and testing requirements for private employers with 100 or more employees throughout the United States. Shortly after the ETS was published, several states and businesses sued to declare that the rule was unconstitutional and beyond OSHA's statutory authority, which it was. And you see on November the 6th, 2021, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals based in New Orleans issued a very short preliminary ruling staying implementations of the ETS pending further briefings in the court. And as we can see, it has already moved forward. Emergency Temporary Standard COVID-19 Vaccinations and Testing ETS. On November 12, 2021, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit granted a motion to stay OSHA's COVID-19 Vaccination Testing Emergency Temporary Standard published on November 5th. The court ordered that OSHA take no steps to implement or enforce the ETS until further court order. And we have seen, because we talked about this last Friday, that President Biden still told businesses to implement this rule despite this court order. We are dealing with the establishment who appointed this mail-in or mail-by-vote president, and we could call this what it actually is, levels of disturbing corruption. And we see as of today this continuing maneuver by this administration to get these progressive types into positions to continue to implement these establishment type environments. As part of that establishment appointment of Joe Biden, we're seeing how this is affecting everyone across the board. We're already seeing higher taxes. We're already seeing higher prices on retail. And we're seeing, of course, the shortages, which have been argued and are starting to appear to be intentionally designed or creating a scarcity on purpose. And I'm going to explain why I say that right here from Newsweek. Joe Biden's Treasury Nominee slammed for saying bankrupt energy firms help climate. A video of President Joe Biden's nominee for a key Treasury Department role suggesting smaller energy firms needed to go bankrupt to tackle climate change has caused conservatives to question her suitability for the role. So here you have it. I think this is very key. And it seems like someone's trying to put out little hints to us and clues to us that the establishment is in the works of trying to go after businesses and companies, particularly small to medium-sized businesses, particularly during the shortages, so that the establishment businesses and corporations and firms and bigger agencies, can make up for the 4 years that President Trump held them back. And so we're seeing these little subtle signs of this happening. But this particular nominee right here, of course, they probably knew this information about her, which is interesting. I don't know how long ago she had said it. Now, based upon this tweet, it's showing November the 9th. Maybe she said it then. But this is who Joe Biden wants to put into place. Biden nominee Suel Omarova saying the quiet part out loud on the oil, coal, and gas industries. We want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change. Now, we knew this starting off. From Molly Ball's article, we saw that the AFL-CIO was working together with the, this collusion, as it were, or cabal of people to, fortify an election for a desired outcome. And part of that was fracking and, of course, the Keystone Pipeline, which those particular unions were part of. And then, of course, when Biden got into office, one of the first things he did as his executive orders was to shut it all down. So all those people, those thousands of people, were out of a job when they were instructed to vote for Joe Biden. So here we have this individual right here saying that we want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change. This is very indicative to AOC. This is very indicative to what the progressives want. Now, I don't know how much of an influence progressives have within the establishment. I'm assuming there's very little. The progressives, like the activists, serve as agitators for them so that they themselves don't have to get their hands dirty with all of the things that are happening. Very similar to what we saw with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and Black Bloc. The Democrats allow them to have their space to create these issues to make Trump look bad. And then, of course, now that Biden's in office, you rarely, if ever hear very much about Antifa, although we're seeing more and more of this particular tyranny and oppression that they kept talking about during the Trump administration, which we're actually seeing now. Speaking of which, continuing on with this level of corruption, Kevin McCarthy slams Biden's Department of Justice after whistleblower revealed FBI used counterterrorism tactics to investigate parents complaining about CRT, or critical race theory. Demands AG Garland prove he did not lie before Congress. So here we have, ladies and gentlemen, a Biden administration who comes out on television during a news conference and says he's going to fine businesses if their employees, if they have more than 100 employees, they need to get vaccinated. This was not a law. This had no legal precedent behind it. We have a Treasury nominee who's saying that she wants to bankrupt businesses. And now we have the Attorney General going after mothers and fathers who are going to school board meetings and saying, we are concerned about what our kids are learning in school, that we don't approve of this critical race theory. We're concerned about all the other items that they talked about, of course, the intersectionality, identitarianism, and all these other progressive ideologies and philosophies that are being pushed onto these kids. It's absolutely insane. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy slammed Joe Biden's Justice Department for an egregious abuse of power on Tuesday and demanded Attorney General Merrick Garland testify before Congress about the counterterrorism tactics the FBI is using to investigate parents. It is an egregious abuse of power with the potential to unfairly track American activities. President Biden's Department of Justice is using FBI criminal and counterterrorism resources to target parents, McCarthy said in a statement. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a small channel. I am a small YouTube content creator. I ask you guys to like, to share, and to comment because these sorts of stories are not getting out there that people need to hear. Sure, we have individuals like Tim Pool, Styx Hexenhammer, and we have We Are Change and other conservative voices that are out there. However, your guys' support of the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing these videos helps get these sorts of messages out and allows you guys to say, hey, this is covered. This information is out there. It's not in the mainstream, and it's not going across social media. So by you guys sharing these videos, it really helps out the channel. But as you can see, this should be major news right here. This should be all across mainstream media. Now, of course, they're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. They're talking about this Treasury nominee. And they're even talking about Kevin McCarthy slamming the Department of Justice. And I'm okay with all of that. But this is the most significant right here. I have family members. I have friends. People coming to me, asking me about this, what the deal is. And of course, by me telling them that there is no legal precedent behind it, doesn't really change their position at their work because their workplace can still fire them, whatever they need to do. But if you're a person who is facing this, you need to take this information. You need to get the website here, OSHA.gov. It's a link to this information is linked on the main page of the well, actually I went to the Department of Labor. But if you go to OSHA's website, okay, it'll take you directly to this article. It's on the main page, so you guys can see it there. But if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Below this video, you will find the various social medias that I belong to. You guys can follow me there because I do daily posts like this sort of information. And then, of course, if you're here on YouTube, you can click on the icon that appears right there on the screen and click on that to subscribe, as well as notifications. And that's what I had for you guys today.